You care about Black lives? I do. And unlike the people that currently run Baltimore, I actually have a plan to make life better for Black people here. Walk with me. I want you to see this. I'm Kim Klacik. This is Baltimore, the real Baltimore. This city was once among the most prosperous, populated, and powerful cities in America. So what happened? Our leaders abandoned us and Baltimore fell into ruin. But it doesn't have to be this way. None of this has to be this way. A broken Baltimore does not have to be our future. And that's why I'm running for Congress, because I see the city differently. I walk the streets of Baltimore and see what could be. I want you to see what I see. I see Baltimore that picks up trash. There are piles of garbage all around Baltimore. It makes life unsafe for our families. I'll work with city leaders to get Baltimore's Solid Waste Bureau the resources it needs to take out the trash. Our streets should be a reflection of our leaders. Clean, not dirty. Much of our trash gathers in abandoned homes. There are over 17,000 abandoned buildings in Baltimore. They are a scar on the face of our city. I will support tax credits and incentive programs to give residents a chance to buy and rehabilitate these homes. Everyone deserves a safe community and a chance at home ownership. Let's put the charm back in Charm City. Who will live in these homes? The newly employed constituents of Baltimore City. This district needs more jobs. The best way to get them is by having businesses invest in our community. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act gives federal tax incentive to drive private investment into opportunity zones just like Baltimore. Who will work in all of these new jobs if we don't have an educated workforce? 9 out of 10 Black boys in Baltimore are not reading at grade level. Over a dozen high schools in Baltimore have zero students proficient in math. This is a tragedy. We can end the school to prison pipeline with school choice, providing parents with options to escape schools that do not serve our children. Let's make Baltimore better for our kids. Isn't that the point? That's my vision for Baltimore. The corrupt leaders hate it. They attack me for taking a stand, for wanting better for our people, our children, our communities. But I'm not the only one who wants better. Tens of millions of you have shared the struggle of Black people in Baltimore. You lifted our voices. You cared about our Black lives more than our own Democrat leaders. They have done nothing for us. Now they can't hide. It's time for change. We are that change. I'm Kim Klacik, and I'm running for Congress because I actually care about Black lives. All Black lives matter. Our communities matter. We matter. And Baltimore doesn't have to vote Democrat.
I'm Newt Gingrich, and I want to congratulate President Matt Breeding, the officers, and all the members of the Washington County Republican Club for their many successes in a very difficult time. While I wish you were able to hold your second annual Eisenhower Day dinner, and my staff was working with your leadership team for me to attend in person, I regret that I cannot. Everyone knows travel, especially international travel, is difficult right now, if not nearly impossible. Your leadership team made a wise decision to suspend plans for your dinner until next year, when we all can celebrate the re-election of President Trump, keeping the Senate, and winning back the House of Representatives. Because of each and every member of your club, you have experienced tremendous growth in 2020. And if my sources are correct, you now have over 150 members in good standing and plan on 200 by the end of the year. Whatever you are doing, you're doing right. I'm told your club has become a model for other clubs, and you have begun to partner with neighboring Republican organizations to help them become as successful. Creating the Western Maryland Conservative Coalition is a great endeavor, and teamwork will help solidify the conservative movement. With your energy, focus, and outreach, you can do what many think is impossible. You can take back Maryland's 6th congressional seat that was gerrymandered away from you. I personally challenge everyone to bring at least one other person to work to make Delegate Neil Parrott, Congressman Neil Parrott. President Trump needs help. It's up to you to make it happen. Speaking of making it happen, the city of Hagerstown is a Democrat stronghold. However, you have a Republican mayor. Let's keep it that way. Let's work to elect Mike Barnes as your next mayor. Get out and support your 4 Republican city council candidates. Montgomery County Democrats are moving to Frederick County. Do your part. Stop them there. Keep Washington County red. My staff and your leadership team will continue to work together, and I hope to see everyone in person next year.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Tri-District Republican Club. This is September the 28th, and we are so glad to have all of our faithful members either here or I hope you're online watching. And to those who are new, we are just really grateful that you are joining us. We are hoping that we can help you learn a few things, that we can encourage you in some way, and maybe you can gain some insight and some information. And also I want to say thank you to the folks here at CMFI for allowing us to use the facilities here and for just helping us out with our little time when we're not able to meet at the Lorien and have a meal together like we used to. I miss those times. It seems like we haven't seen each other for a long time, and we haven't. But I'm glad you guys are here. I'd like to start this evening. Sam, if you would lead us in a word of prayer. Amen. Amen. Thank you. And if you could continue standing, and if you're at home, I hope you have a flag that you can take to your attention. If you look to my left here, your right, we have a small flag, but let me tell you, it is huge on the outside and inside. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. And at this time, we'd like to have the reading of the minutes. Christine?
The Tri-District Republican Club's monthly meeting was called to order at 7 p.m. Monday, May 18th, 2020 by President Ron Albin. Pastor Robinson led us in prayer and Frank Elgersma led in the Pledge of Allegiance. Recording Secretary Christine Albin read the club minutes for the April 27th, 2020 meeting. The minutes were accepted as read. Don Fraser gave a treasurer's report. The previous balance was $376.45. Income was $25. The expenditures were $0. The ending balance is $401.45. Updates and announcements. Judge Titus gave an update on his candidacy and gave us his webpage, www.votejudgetitus.com. Robin Fraser announced that Nicolene Ambrose was re-elected for National Committee Woman. A guest speaker, Michael Peruka, spoke on what executive orders are, the force of law, and the Maryland Constitution. Afterwards, he took questions and comments from the club members. Jim Simpson, who is running for Congress in District 2, expressed the need to reopen America. He was recruiting people to make phone calls in his district. Robin Fraser suggested a Cookout Cash Bash fundraiser with a movie to follow. A date was set for August 15th at 6 p.m. Don Fraser made a motion in favor of the fundraiser, and Leslie Smith made the second. The motion was adopted. Robin Fraser made a motion that we send a letter to the sheriff, state police barracks, judges, county commissioners, along with the state's attorney's office from the Tri-District Republican Club, asking for a commitment to follow Article 44 of Maryland Constitution. The motion was adopted. Don Fraser made a motion for the TRDC to endorse Gregory Call and send a letter to the press for our endorsement. Robin Fraser made the second. The motion was adopted. Frank Elkersma made a motion to adjourn the meeting, and Kathy Allison made the second. The motion was adopted, and the meeting adjourned at 9:15.
Thank you, Christine. Now, are there any questions or any corrections anybody would like to make on the minutes? Okay. Okay, we got a motion and a second to accept the minutes. All those in favor say aye. And all opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the minutes will be accepted as read. And at this time, we have one of our happiest treasurer reports that I think I've heard. So we're going to get Don up here to take care of that.
What's my name?
Don. Mr. Don.
All right, thank you. What's that? Okay. Well, the treasurer's report was, and you heard it from the minutes, was $401.45. And we have two reports under the treasurer's report. We have my report of the balances so far, and then we have a Cash Bash fundraiser report. So call on Robin next for that. The Cash Bash was held on August the 15th, and it netted $1,493.85. We collected $75 in dues. The dues are due July 1st, and they're $15 per person. And we had a little rain at the end of the Cash Bash, so we moved the movie to a later date, and we had a movie night, and we made $30.25. And then we had other donations of $15. And then the expenditures were the $20 hosting fee for May, June, July, and September, plus $90 to move Mr. Perutka's speech permanently to the history page for a total of $170. Office Depot is $73 since we met in May for the Cash Bash tickets, the movie night tickets, and 40 September flyers. And then I bought a roll of stamps of $55, leaving a balance of $1,717.55. And you can applaud right now. That's a great number for our club. We really want to thank the people who worked on these special events. I have a picture at the bottom of the Trump derangement syndrome, foisted by a Shifty Shift. And then I have several pictures at the bottom. The derangement syndrome strikes Congress, and then Punxsutawney Trump, who's going to get 4 more years. And then at the after, how boring the impeachment is, and they're threatening impeachment again. There's the man there who's falling asleep. But we have actually great candidates. We have a great candidate for mayor of Hagerstown here tonight, and also all of our congressional candidates will discuss under business a little later about contributing some to support them. I have an invoice for some signs for Gregory Cole, and I want to discuss that under new business. And without objection, I'll submit that. Don Frazier, Treasurer.
Thank you so much, Don. Are there any questions or any comments that anybody has on the treasurer's reports? Okay. Can I get a motion to accept the treasurer's report? Okay, and a second? Okay, thank you. Okay, all those in favor of accepting the treasurer's report, say aye. All those opposed, no. And with that, the treasurer's report is to be filed. Thank you, Don. I really enjoyed hearing that tonight, so that's really good. I'd like to do that again. And I understand, Robin, you have some more information you want to give us on the Cash Bash?
Yes, thank you everyone who supported that, came, gave money, whatever. It was really fun. And I'll give you a breakdown on what happened. First of all, just to remind you, or anyone who wasn't there, our speakers were Cindy Ayers, who's the chair of the National Federation Republican Women Homeland Security Committee. We had congressional candidates, Gregory Cole, and April Parrott was there representing her husband, Neil, who was at another fundraising event. Commissioner Rothschild spoke, and he always gives us some words of wisdom. And Jim Simpson, the author of the book, The Red-Green Axis. And then we wrapped it up with Trevor Taylor, who was the Trump Victory Chair for Adams County, Pennsylvania. And I think it's kind of our thought that if we want to contribute to the Trump campaign, we might want to do it in Pennsylvania instead of in Maryland. So keep that in mind when we talk about spending our money. And that's why we had Trevor come and make a little connection for us there. So we had sponsorships of 1,500. I wrote them down back there and didn't bring them, but Battery Warehouse was a sponsor, Lee Weller Auto, George Auto Handyman, the Institute on the Constitution, Lisa Bell, David Ellen, attorney at law, Jason Sydock, Heisey Oil, and Ron Albin were folks that contributed to as sponsors. We had a dime toss, which was a lot of fun, and we actually made $55 on the dime toss. Now, some people cheated at the end and just bought what they wanted, but that was okay for us. And we had also tickets and Trump items. I counted 76 attendees. There may have been a couple more. And that was a total of $510. And then we had a couple people who won their cash prize and gave their money back. So we had a total of $2,215 in income, and our cash prizes totaled $650. We spent a little bit of money on ice and drinks, besides other things that people contributed towards the food, and that was $46.15, printing $25. So our total expenses were $721.15, and our total profit was $1,493.85. Yeah, so I would say that was a success. It can be even more successful if more people get sponsors. and invite people to come. And I think we had so much fun that it won't be hard to do it again. So I'm sure we will do that, and we don't mind opening our home for that. We got some more marketing off of it because Cindy Ayers, who is the speaker, is on this National Homeland Security Committee, and she did a little write-up in the report of what National Federation Republican Women are doing. And so she wrote in this report that went all over the country on 15 August, she's military, Homeland Security Committee member Robin Fraser planned, hosted, and held the Tri-District Republican Club Cash Bash event at her home in Carroll County, where 75 people were in attendance and raised $1,500 to help conservative congressional candidates and President Trump in the upcoming election. Cynthia Ayers was honored to be among the many Republican speakers, who included congressional candidate Neil Parris' wife, April, Trump Victory Campaign field organizer Trevor Taylor, and the author of the Red Green Axis, James Simpson. And pictures were attached with the report. And that went all over the United States. So good for us. So I just wanted to go over that and hope we'll vote to do it again. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin, and thank you, Don and Robin, for hosting that Cash Bash again. I hope we do that again. It was so much fun. And maybe we can make it an annual event even. Yes, Don. Yes. Okay. Okay. If you did not hear, Don is asking, how did we make the announcement for every 15 minutes we were giving away a minimum of $50. And at one point, the highest amount was a $200 prize. And every 15 minutes, I have a shofar, and I would blow the shofar. And that was so much fun, but my lips are still tired from doing that. That's not an easy thing to play. Pardon? Don says, do I have it with me tonight? Yes, I do have it with me tonight. Maybe at the end of the meeting if we still have time. It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work to blow those things. I would like to take an opportunity just to share a little bit of what is on my mind and what's on my heart. And I hope I can do this reasonably quickly and was able to find my notes. I have more notes here than a note factory, but I do have notes. Pardon me while I lick my thumb. I'm sure that's gross to some people. Okay. Bear with me just one moment, please. Okay, I am sure that all of you that are listening are aware that this is a most important election and that it is the most important election of our lifetime. But not only that, it's the most important election since December the 15th, 1788. Now, I know there's always been a struggle concerning the type of government that we would have. There's a monarchy, a theocracy, there's communism, or a republic, just to mention a few choices. But with the wisdom of our founding fathers, the decision was made to govern by a republic. You may remember Hillary Clinton, when she was running for president, she didn't even know what type of government we had. She kept calling this a democracy. We are a republic. And let me say, Trump's most important accomplishment was the fact that Hillary Clinton is not president. Now, when Bill Clinton was elected, he became our first king. Now, why do I say that? Because he was found guilty during impeachment charges, but for the most part, he didn't really suffer any consequences. He lost his license to practice law, but he didn't really suffer any consequences that if you and I did those same things, we would probably end up in jail. The rule of law did not apply to him. And when that happens, you become a king, not a president. When Barack Obama became president, he became our first anti-American president. And he had a goal to fundamentally transform America into a communist government. Now, in the past years, Democrats, they always appear conservative in hopes to be elected, only to return to their leftist ideals after the election. But now, Democrats are openly socialistic. Now our choice is no longer, mainstream, Republican and Democrat. But now our choice is between the Republican Party and the Socialist Party. The Democrat Party is dead. They are now socialists. And if Joe Biden should get into office, make no mistake about it, he will fundamentally transform this nation into a socialist country. And that's what he means when he says, build back better. And we cannot let this happen. This election will decide if we remain a republic or if we become a mob-ruled socialist nation. We must make every effort to re-elect Donald Trump and keep our republic. Every person is important to do their part. Every vote is important. Every vote counts. At the beginning of the Revolutionary War, there were about 32,000 well-trained, well-armed British soldiers compared to a little less than 20,000 in the Continental Army. And it may seem like they had the odds against them, but they were courageous in how they fought. And that's how we need to fight now for our republic. The cause was right then, and it is now against the Democrats in this election. Now, if I can call on Joe Biden to help me as I read these numbers, make sure I get this right. There are 4,239,987 people of voting age in Maryland. Of those, 1,677,928 voted Democrat. That leaves 2,500,062 and 59 people that we need to convince that we need to keep this nation a republic. And it can be done. We can do that. These democratic socialists, they will take your rights away, starting with the freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of press, and freedom of assembly. They've done that using this China virus. How many churches had to close their doors for a period? And how many churches are still, they're limited. The government is telling them how many people can come into their building. They are now trying to take our freedoms away from us. They want to take away our Second Amendment to keep and bear arms. They want to eliminate the Electoral College. And they want open borders. Believe me, these Democrat socialists will do away with our Constitution. Now listen to what the Constitution's preamble says. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union. No one's going to sit here or stand here and say, we are all perfect as we are. No one's making a claim of being perfect. However, with this Constitution, everything is in place to properly and to legally make any change or correction while keeping our republic. One of the goofiest things that we did, we started something called hate crimes, as if robbing somebody and assaulting somebody wasn't a crime, but if it's against the right people, all of a sudden they label it a hate crime, as if doing that, robbing someone, assaulting someone, or some other similar crime was loving. I mean, it just makes no sense. It's not loving to rob people, but there are already laws that are on the books. You don't have to make another law called a hate crime. Don't let the rule of law, pardon me, don't let mob rule become the rule of law. And don't let this nation be fundamentally transformed into socialism. Do your part to tell folks what is at stake in this election, and do your part to vote for Donald Trump. Thank you. And I hope you find that somewhat encouraging. I would like to make a few announcements. We're talking about things that we can do. Do you want to talk about the car rally, Kathy? Okay. Sure. Okay, this is Kathy Fuller. She's going to give us some information on a car rally coming up. Okay.
Thanks, Ron. So we've seen a lot of boat rallies, but Carroll County doesn't have any real good body of water that's very visible from any distance. So we've come up with our own rally. We're calling it the MAGA Red, White, and Back the Blue Motorcade. And we're going to start in Sykesville at the Sykesville Middle School. And this is going to be on October 10th at 10 a.m., 10 at 10. So that should be easy to remember. We're going to line up there, bring your flags, bring your car decorations, bring your, your spirit. And we have a route mapped out to go down the main street of Sykesville, up into Manchester, Hampstead, Manchester, around back, down through Westminster, and into Taneytown, and we're going to end up where we had the Cash Bash. And all the while showing our spirit for President Trump and whatever other Republican candidates. I think Gregory Cole, candidate for Congressional District 8, is going to have somebody representing him, and hopefully Andy Harris, maybe Neil Parrott, and some of the others will too. And so it's just to kind of rally people, show support, and give people a chance, because we've not really been able to go to the events that President Trump was so successful with last time. And then, but we're going to meet at the, oh, and it is really to support our law enforcement too. So it's not just our president, but our president is very supportive of the rule of law, and we are supporting the rule of law also because we are the party of law and order, personal responsibility, and we are not rioters. And we don't support that, and this is a way for us to show that. So, and at the end, we're going to have a kind of a tailgate hot dog thing and ask for some donations. And then I'm looking for an organization that is supporting the families of officers killed in the line of duty. So I hope that you'll come out. I have flyers for everybody, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flyers and I'm going to go around to the houses in my neighborhood that have Trump signs up, and I'm going to invite them to come because I think people want to be able to get out and show something enthusiastic for this election. So anyway, I hope you'll join me. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy, and God willing, I plan on being there, and I hope to see as many cars as possible. And I'm also looking forward to the hot dogs. So, I also want to make an announcement. This is going through my notes again. This is a golf tournament, and you can get some more information here. I'll give you a phone number. But Gregory Call, he is being endorsed by the Tri-District Republican Club, and he's running for Congress in District 8, and he's having a fundraiser golf tournament, and this is at the Musket Ridge Golf Course on October the 9th at 8:30. And if you want to participate, it says arrive no later than 7:45. And there's a cost of $600 per team or $150 per individual if you want them to match up with others to form a team. That includes golf cart and range balls. And anyone that has any questions about this, they can call Carl Middleton, and his number is 913-948-3896. And it's 913-948-3896 if you want to be a part of that golf tournament. Okay. All right. So with that, I'd like to ask Steve if he would come up and introduce our main speaker. And I've been looking forward to hearing this for quite some time now. So, Steve.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you to the Tri-District Republican Club for having us out here. It's truly a great thing you guys are doing. A lot of work in the community. We really appreciate that, working in Central Maryland. I am Stephen Longnecker. I'm Mike Barnes' campaign manager. I am a political scientist by trade, and I graduated from Old Dominion University. And no, not yesterday, but a few years ago, I wanted to come up and say a few words about Mike. He's a very humble man, so I figured I'd come up and brag about him a little bit. I'm a believer in destiny. I'm a believer that God puts people in positions to do great things at the right times. And I think Mike is one of those individuals placed in Hagerstown to make a difference at the right time. He's fighting for a better future for the city. Despite being outnumbered by Democrats by nearly 4,000 in the city, he's at 53% in the polls and growing. He's winning. He's fighting. He is also probably the most pro-life candidate I know of in the city elections, and that's something I know I can get behind. All the way from the womb until the tomb, Mike fights for life. Mike is also fighting for the lives of those people affected by addiction. And every community in America has been touched by addiction. And it's something Mike cares deeply about. And he wants to try a different approach. We've been, for a long time, I think, enabling a lot of addicts, giving them brand new needles when they turn in their old ones just so they can go back out and do the same thing. Mike doesn't believe that that's the solution. Mike believes in getting people to treatment. Mike believes in getting people the help that they need so that they can start living more productive lives, putting them in public service programs so they can learn new skills, get trades, so they can get jobs when they're finished rehabilitation, so that they can be productive, that they can have some hope. And on top of that, Mike wants to bring more jobs to Hagerstown. Hagerstown has lost a lot of jobs in recent years, and we're at a 50% poverty rate. I don't dislike warehouse jobs. That's where I got my start in college. I worked at a warehouse, but I think we need tech jobs. Mike thinks we need tech jobs, and he's working very hard behind the scenes to have those things lined up upon his election and assuming office. And that's exciting. That's very exciting. Mike's also taking on bigger enemies than just the city candidates. He's taking on David Trone and his cronies who are backing those candidates. I know District 8 has its story with David Trone, and now District 6 is putting up with him. But Mike is standing up to those people. Mike is standing up to the bullies that are trying to tell us that we don't have the answers, that Republicans don't have the answers. Mike is the one saying, no, Republicans represent the party of innovation, the party of hope, and the party of change. Positive change. Mike is the candidate that's for all people. He's the man that'll listen to you, much like our current president. He will listen to you no matter who you are, and he's fighting for everybody. And with that, I'd like to introduce Mike Barnes, candidate for mayor of Hagerstown.
Thank you, Stephen. I'm not a real big talker, but we're going to get through this. I'm more of a let's get it done type of guy. And just so you all know, I'm not like Sleepy Joe. I don't have a teleprompter up here giving answers or an earwig in my ear so somebody can give me the answers. My name is Mike Barnes. I'm 53 years old, born and raised in Hagerstown. I came from a broken home. I wound up at Milton Hershey School, if any of you guys ever heard of Milton Hershey School in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I spent 4 years there, and the guy that I graduated with is now the president and the CEO of the school. And he's at Hershey was very liberal. And it's funny that my buddy Pete is running a liberal school and he has to do the whole liberal agenda thing. The majority of the people that go to the school are from Philly and Philly, DC, a lot of really low income areas. I graduated in 1985 from high school, went on to college, became a respiratory therapist, did that for 12 years. And after 2 back surgeries, I decided to make a career change and became an insurance agent in the senior market. I've been doing that now for 21 years, and I had a break-in back in January of 2018 while I was taking care of my mom. She was in hospice care in my home, and we had a smash and grab, or attempted smash and grab. And when I called the police about this, it took them over 20 minutes to get to my house. I live 5 minutes from the police station. 3 minutes, 2 minutes if they run emergency. When they finally showed up, at that point I had my gun strapped to me because I am pro Second Amendment, and because this is a church, my gun's in the car. At that point, they spent about 20 minutes questioning me why I had the gun on. And I said, at what point do you guys care to know about the guy that just broke into my house? So that was one of many run-ins with the city. Our city likes to permit everyone to death. 10 years ago, I bought my grandparents' house in 10 years ago when I moved in, I replaced an existing fence. 10 years ago, that permit was $125. They never came out to inspect it afterwards. I had a hot tub put in probably 5-6 years ago. That was $225. They never came out to inspect it. So there's got to be a better way than permitting or taxing or charging a fee for everything. And I was always told, don't complain about it. Do something about it. Go, if you don't like the way it's done, go and take over City Hall yourself. And that's what I want to do. Now, Stephen was very correct about saying I'm outvoted 2-1 here in the city of Hagerstown. But I think I could do it. I feel very confident that we're going to do this. I've been getting a lot of help from around the state, and I really like to thank the Maryland GOP. Great leadership, and I've just been very excited about that. My platforms, one of the things I wanted to talk about was our biggest concern in Hagerstown is the opioid crisis. Back in 2018, in a 24-hour period, there was 42 drug overdoses. Now, Stephen can verify this. When we went to talk to the fire chief, we talked to the city administrator. It took 2.5 months to get in to see the police chief because, well, I'm not his boss at this time. I'm fighting a battle against an incumbent. She's currently on city council and wants to be mayor. So I finally got in to talk to him, and he said, "Where'd you get your numbers? Where'd you get your numbers on those 42? I said, "Well, your boss, the city administrator, your counterpart, the fire chief, but 42 drug overdoses in a 24-hour period." Now, the city administrator said those average costs are between $1,500 and $2,200. So let's do the math here real quick. Let's just say it's $1,750. In that 24 hours, it cost the city Hagerstown taxpayers $73,500. One person was Narcan 4 times in that 24-hour period. Because of the Good Samaritan laws, which I know Neil is fighting against, our new state senator Paul Cornerman and our newly elected, not installed yet, delegate is going to be working to try to change some of those laws. But basically the laws are, if I was overdosing right now and had a needle stuck in my arm, and you called the police or called emergency, you couldn't be arrested, and you could have a needle in your arm, and you could have narcotics in your home, and they can't do nothing about it. So my whole thing is, why are we going to keep on Narcanning over and over and over again into their same old life, miserable life that they're in? My plan is we're going to Narcan them 3 times. Either you're going to go into our treatment program, which you will get the rehabilitation that you need, but you will also be required to do community service to our city works department, whether it's mowing a lawn, painting the curbs, working with the electrician, learning something. So when you get out of the program, you have a sense of self-worth. So it's always funny that we have an endless supply of Narcans, but seniors, I'm reversing my hats here, seniors can't get their insulin. Since seniors have a hard time paying for their medication, but we have an endless supply of Narcan. So that's one of the things, and don't get me wrong, I'm very compassionate about addiction. I'm very passionate about addiction. I had a little pain medicine addiction that my doctor put me in when I had my second back surgery. And I had to take that medication for 3 more months till I weaned myself off. So, yeah, a lot of it does start with the pharmaceutical companies and everything, but basically, that's one of the ideas. We're going to start enforcing the little laws on the books. Right now, when I walk into office in January, we're going to be at a $2 million deficit. That's against our charter. We have to have a balanced budget. And part of the way we're going to overcome that is we're not rubber stamping the budget. Right now, all the department heads submit their budget to the city administrator. The city administrator brings it to the council, and the council just rubber stamps it. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen where we paid $20,000 for a used riding mower for our golf course. I think if you went to Home Depot or Lowe's or Tractor Supplies, you could get 4 of them for that amount. So the budget is going to be the big thing that we're going to take care of. What else? What else? What else did you do here, guys? But one of the biggest things is David Trone and Emily Keller, who is my opponent, has already came out and said what they're doing is not working. So what I have will work. Just remember, this is her campaign finance report. That's, if you guys want to see it, but David Trone for Congress, $3,000 to the campaign. So if you guys think I did a good job tonight, or if you guys want to know more about me or my platforms, it is on my website, votebarnes2020.com. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Don't be shy. Isn't it a great day to be a Republican? I should have opened with that, huh?
Thank you, Mike. Oh, we have a question. Yes.
If we have friends or folks that we know in Hagerstown that maybe can vote for you, or at least can put up a sign or help, how do they get connected?
Okay, I'm going to give you guys some of my palm cards here this evening. It does have my telephone number on it. Also, I don't want to forget, this coming Saturday, October the 3rd, the Republican headquarters at 222 South Point. Is that South Point Drive? Yeah, Hagerstown. We're meeting there at 10 o'clock. I'm supplying coffee and donuts, and then we're going out for a heavy door knocking event. With this COVID, it's knock once, if no one answers, we're just leaving a door hanger. Not very many people wants to answer the door with a mask on, you know. So we're going to be pretty aggressive doing that every Saturday the rest of this month. So if anybody feels like driving to Hagerstown and helping, we'd love to have you. If you know some people in Hagerstown, I would be happy to give you my telephone number. Do you guys? Go ahead and say it. 301-730-7885. And I answer that from 8 in the morning till 10 o'clock, and then I put it on Do Not Disturb.
I have one other question.
Yes, ma'am.
Newt Gingrich endorsed you. How'd that happen?
I absolutely have no idea how that happened, but I'm very, very glad and very humbled that he did endorse me. I know it's very important. I know President Trump wants to keep every seat red as possible, whether it be something on a small level, small town mayor, council seats, dog catcher. He wants to keep them all red, and I'm very humbled to get Newt Gingrich's support.
Thank you again, Mike. And I like Newt. He's a very interesting character. I've had an opportunity to meet him, and that is a big endorsement. So may God bless you and your efforts and your commitment to Hagerstown. And if we could at this time, Kathy, do you want to introduce Sally? Or
I need no introduction. Okay, all right.
Sally needs no introduction.
And I just have a couple of things.
Okay. Come on up.
Say Sally's name so we can type it in.
Okay, for court purposes?
For court purposes.
Oh, I'm Claire, really? Yeah. I'm Claire. Right now, I guess, my, yeah, I think I'll be good. Oh, okay, there we go. Amongst other things, tonight, I'm Sally Taylor, and I'm a citizen of Carroll County. As a sidebar here, I do work for Dan Cox, and I wanted to kind of tell you a citizen's view of maybe some of the things that are happening on a state level. First, Delegate Cox still does have his court, his filing against, it's against the state of Maryland. It's not against Larry Hogan as a person, but rather Larry Hogan as a governor and his executive orders. A very similar lawsuit was successful in the Pittsburgh federal court, and I know that many days I can't get a hold of Delegate Cox because he's sequestered himself in rewriting and not rewriting, but I guess answering the motions. Thank you. I believe it or not, I'm not an attorney, but he is extremely committed to getting us back. And really having these executive orders just go away. Unfortunately, well, let's see. Delegate Parrott has joined in. Delegate Warren has joined in, and nobody else has joined in. He does have. He's done this on behalf of businesses. He had a veteran that he was helping, but apparently since they redid or they loosened up getting the medical, allowing people now to have more access to their doctors, that has been sidelined. But as far as the businesses and churches opening, those are still very, very viable and just not getting the coverage that we would like. But and he is doing this as FYI. For no money. He is not getting a big payout of any kind. So in fact, it's probably cost him money because he's taken time from other things. He is let's see. He noticed, thanks to some concerned citizens who brought attention to the ballot issue. And there's several ballot issues, one of which is, I'll get it right. I want to get it right. Well, one of which is that we're voting in high schools. We're not voting out of our own home districts. This is against the Constitution. Delegate Cox has written the Attorney General for an opinion. He just got the opinion back, and it was less than satisfying. And it's just, I think that what we like to do is probably get a lot of this information because I didn't know I was going to be here, and then I took the wrong turn. But I guess the bottom line is that they're not allowing
us to vote in our own areas, that we have to go to areas that we don't know where we will go, although it has been publicized a bit. So then they are starting voting, counting the votes a month early, October the 1st, better than a month early from the election. And they base this on an executive order that Larry Hogan had put out. That executive order talked about postponing deadlines for things like MVA registrations, vehicle registration, if your registration was up at the end of 1 month. It never talked about accelerating a date, making things earlier. Part of the response that we got back, or Delegate Cox got back, which was less than satisfying again from Linda Lamone, was that we did all this during the primary. Well, the primary, as also I talked earlier to Kathy, is a party function. You know, we are nominating our party nominees. So it's so that's kind of like a sidebar issue. But not only is it against the executive order that they move the counting of the ballots, it's also against state law, it's also against the state constitution. So right now, everywhere you look, we have some people are, what do I want to say? We have a lot of convenient things that are happening administratively, but not by law. Now, my own little pet peeve in my life here right now is that we also aren't in a special session. Any emergency in the past, we have called for special sessions. We can come to special session. Now, during a special session, they would have to do the vetoes. They would have to consider any of Larry Hogan's vetoes. So they would probably override the HB4, which was the gun law that he had vetoed. But they're going to do that in January. So you know, we're talking about a couple months of the things that they're going to do anyway. But last week, Delegate Cox did receive a letter from Speaker Jones and President Ferguson saying that they were not going to consider a special session because some of the issues are just, they're so profound that they need a long time in, they need the whole session to deliberate these issues. And part of those issues are related to police issues. Maryland has a very strong police Bill of Rights that the left is champing at the bit to rescind, overturn, get rid of, whatever it is. But last week, what they did in the state Senate was they actually had hearings on actual legislation. So why they're not in a special session, they are doing things that would lead you to believe that are a special session. So they're having the hearings on legislation. They did invite the public through the internet, but that's not a real public hearing, and that also wasn't open to the rest of the state Senate.
Which violates the open meetings law.
Which, amongst others, there's so much, because they violated the open meetings law and when they shut down the General Assembly, and we have now constitutional amendments on the ballot that never had a hearing and that they just slipped in.
No kidding?
Oh, no kidding. Oh, the list is mind-numbing. Yes. In fact, a Democrat from Howard County, I can't remember, is there Valentine? She is like the last pro-life Democrat in the General Assembly, voted against the state constitutional amendment that they had. It was the second one. Isn't this terrible? I'd have to look it up.
We know the thing.
But but they just rammed it through, and they never had a hearing, and they never had any type of, they just put it on the floor and everybody voted for it. So yes, every time I go to work, every time I open the computer, it is absolutely mind-numbing what they are doing to our state. And absolutely. But so what, if people are looking to do anything, what I'd like to do, Ron, is send you some actual, like the letters that I've described, and then maybe you can get them out to everybody. What we need is maybe Central Committee members to question, a specific question might be with the ballots, is if somebody votes provisionally but is told that, or goes to the polls, is told that they have a mail-in ballot, and by the way, the state is printing 20 million ballots for a state of almost, or right around 6 million people, and of course we're not talking about the numbers of voters. So, and this they disclosed in minutes on Friday at their Friday Sable meeting, or State Board election. I don't know what they call themselves these days, but at 2 o'clock. So it's September 24th, State Board of Elections meetings.
Linda Lamone.
It's more than just her. I mean, I loved it. In '94, if we could have just taken care of a few of them, but they've exponentially grown. I'm trying to think if there's anything. Oh, getting back to the Central Committee. What this Central Committee could specifically ask their own boards is, if somebody presents themselves in person to vote, told that they have voted by mail, are given a provisional ballot, how then, in a situation where ballots have already been started to be counted, how then do you go back and get and pull the proper ballot? I don't think you can.
I already asked that question.
Oh, yeah, okay. And what do they say, Robin?
To the question microphone.
Yeah, I called Catherine Berry here, who's a very nice young lady, and we just went through the scenario just like that because I wanted to make sure we were communicating. And I said, okay, I go to the polls. They tell me I've already voted and I know I haven't. I said, then what do you do? And she said, well, then you'll vote provisional. I said, okay, I vote provisional. Now you're looking at my provisional ballot and checking it to the absentee ballot I supposedly did, and it's not my signature. Now what do you do? And she said, well, they haven't really figured that out yet.
Well, we need to get that in writing, and also by law, they have to take the last vote that was attested to, and that vote is a provisional vote.
That would be correct. And I said, well, that's a big problem. I said, you don't know how the person who voted for me voted. And so even if I vote again, even if you let me vote, did they cancel me out? Did we double vote? I mean, how do you figure that out? And she said, well, we don't really know.
And that is absolutely unacceptable, and we do have time to correct those types.
Hi.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi. I'm Kathy Allison. I'm on the Central Committee. I get pretty regular advice or notices from Catherine Berry. Anybody who wants to get a copy of those, I'm on the Central Committee, can be located on, say, Facebook, or I'm kathyallison@hotmail.com. I will be glad to forward. She has a lot of, Catherine Berry I think is very good, and this is complex. She sends it, but I'll be glad to send it to others.
Well, at least she's sending, and the other people aren't sending, but her information is, she's held, I think, by a swirl of events around her.
Right. And another thing I'd like to mention, after my own personal careful research, there are 2 questions on this state ballot. And personally, I'm advising everyone to vote reject, vote no or reject. You have those two choices.
And it was a budget, that's right, it was, do you have there, it was about budget power and the governor. It's all coming back to
the
me
Maryland
now.
Constitution, and they have been doing this for years. Our General Assembly has been, what shall we call it, they burned our Constitution some time ago. They just do everything by mandates instead of our Section 52 of our Declarations of Rights, following the method that is constitutionally prescribed about you can't have these bills until the governor's budget has been approved. So they're trying to rewrite that, and I'm saying vote no on both of the ballot issues that are on this state ballot this year. And
the other one is funding, education funding,
yes,
and gaming.
and
in the gaming
non-locked
thing, yeah.
box. Now they're asking for us to issue, for us to approve more licensing for gambling. It's for the children, you know.
It always has been.
Yes, right, yes. And that little box they put all that money in it has a hole in it that doesn't get to the classroom. So I say vote no on both of them. Thank you. And tell your
But
friends.
it was the second. It was the second one that they just put on the floor at literally the last day,
Mm-hmm.
and no advance warning.
Right.
They were taking them out in the General Assembly in March, and they were having hearings in the hallways. They were, one committee room was here or there, just to get the committees to send in or to do a quick vote to send it back on the floor. Delegate Cox, being an attorney, at the beginning when they shooed all the rest of us out of Annapolis, went to his judicial. He's on the Judiciary Committee, and he went and he told them that that if they were not going to open up the hearing, he was leaving. So the following day, they actually did start to live stream these things. So I'm sure that at least it was that much.
Mm-hmm.
But we just it's incredible that the concentration of power that is with the president of the Senate, the speaker, and the governor.
The rules they make, the arbitrary rules.
And just the discounting of our state laws.
Right.
That is no reason. There's
The
no reason.
Mason's Manual, of course, a lot of people are not aware of the legislative manual.
Right.
Right.
Well, and could I? Oh, Kathy, you have.
Well, first of all, I want to say, for Republicans in this state, you always vote against the ballot initiatives that are at the state, because every single one of them is to pass bad law that is going to restrict your rights or cost you money. There is never a good law that is passed in the state of Maryland. Every single law that is passed restricts some portion of your behavior. It does not ever restrict the government. So you always vote against it. So if you're not sure, vote no. I wanted to speak to the absentee mail-in ballot issue.
And clarification.
And
The
clarify.
law says that they passed to start calling these mail-in ballots. They actually have to do an asterisk to say that that this is the same thing as an absentee ballot, because we have absentee ballots in the Constitution and in state law, and it didn't change any of the other names except that we want that mail-in ballot the verbiage to start to be used.
Yeah, the verbiage that, although they're not supposed to be changing how they handle them. And very specifically in the law, when they changed what they called it, they said they're not changing how
That
they
it's
are
exactly the
handled,
same, right.
and yet they are. But so when Catherine Berry, who is a nice lady, but if she told you she didn't know what they're going to be doing, I will tell you what they did do. They opened those ballots when they get them. They are not verifying the signatures.
separating
They are
envelopes?
separating the moment they get it. They're
Envelopes
just
from-
making sure that it is marked in the poll book that your ballot has been received. They are taking the ballot out of the envelope, so you no longer can tell what ballot went with which person, and that's it. So if you are told at the poll that you have already voted and they give you a provisional ballot, that is a pacifier. That is just so you will go away and not pitch a fit, thinking, okay, well, they'll just go and take care of this and this vote will count. It won't. Somebody has already, at that point, stolen your vote. And for them not to acknowledge that is disingenuous.
And before Mr. Barnes leaves, are you leaving? Okay, I just wanted to say, one of the most crucial things that you need to do, pardon me, sir, I'm sorry, is have people at, at the.
All 11 stations, we will have it manned.
Well, but at the Board of Elections, when they're opening up those ballots, I mean, and the absentees, and starting to challenge, and looking at what they're doing. Sorry, I didn't want to. Hagerstown's a far way away. I feel your pain.
I'm basically working with Mr. Barnes, but I'm a political scientist myself. I graduated from McDaniel, so I was taught pretty well on how to do some stuff, and we're going to challenge those stuff. We've got a keen eye. We've got a whole bunch of people that are going to support that, including some people that are lawyers. So we've got
Good.
it.
I just wanted to clarify that what Catherine was saying, I mean, she knows there's no accountability. It's just, what will they do about it?
They're not doing anything
They're not,
about it.
no,
That's
they're
just the
not
way
gonna
it
do
is.
anything about
that's
it,
what-
and they
that's
don't
what
know
we
how
need.
to do
And
anything
that's
about
the
it,
reason
because you
why-
can't.
And that's the reason why we need to get letters, and we need the Central Committee people to start on the State Central Committee people to start sending letters and pressure to start getting things written. Because it might not help on November 3rd, but it might help after November
That's right.
3rd
It might
when
help
when
for
the
lawsuits that
that
should be coming after this, because the law is written for a specific reason, to protect your vote at the poll, that you don't open those envelopes until the day after the election. And there is a reason for that, because if this happens, if they get a fraudulent ballot and you go to vote, your vote will count.
Well, and just
That's right.
just think of this. They talk about what happened during the primary in Baltimore City. Former Mayor Dixon was 8 points
Yes.
ahead, only to lose to Brandon Scott in the preceding days. So why you remember everybody was talking about we need to have certainty. We need to have the election certified as soon as possible. We need everything done as soon as possible. Remember a couple weeks ago we were talking about we need to count those ballots fast. They were setting us up.
Yep.
They were absolutely setting us up.
I agree with
So, may I, just one other little event, since people are pushing events. Well, two things. Delegate Cox has a campaign website, Facebook. He has we just launched an official Facebook. Go there because he's putting a lot of good information on Delegate Dan Cox Facebook. And so there's two pages. Reopen Maryland is a good group, and they are putting a lot of good information that you can rely on their Facebook. So between Dan's and Reopen Maryland, I think you can get a real good idea. Dan's been posting his lawsuit is posted there, his letters are posted there, and I find it observation-wise, we're not getting a lot of people upset about ballots, but we're getting a lot of people that are upset that they can't do school sports. So we're going to take people that are upset and disenfranchised in any way we can get them. And then my last point is Delegate Cox is spearheading help this Saturday for Scott Perry up in Pennsylvania. He's in a fight of his life for Congress, and we'll be using the Trump app. So it'll be kind of a a Trump Perry event for going door to door. And if anybody wants to do that, I'll get Ron some more information, and it'll be, we'll probably meet in Thurmont 8, 9 o'clock and go up there for a few hours. So thank you very much. God bless you.
Sally, does he foresee a lawsuit out of this? I mean, because this is massive.
It's the only way you can stop it. Only a judge can stop
Let-
early counting.
But even after the fact.
Well,
It's an injunction,
Or whatever it's
and we can fund it, the filing of that injunction. You ask for a summary judgment for an injunction of an illegal act of the State Board of Elections on the 19th day of August.
I will tell you, I don't know since they have us divided and we don't have an office, I don't know a lot that's going on, because sometimes he just bounces in and says, okay, A, B, C, D. This is on his radar. I don't know what he himself is going to do, because he is, he's taken on so many fights. And
He's
we,
the only one to speak up loudly about this issue of them opening these.
well, and I
ballots
will
in
tell you,
October.
the early ballot letter was signed by Delegate Neil Parrott
And Mike.
and Delegate Warren
Warren
Miller,
Miller,
and Joe Boatler and Wendell Beitzel.
Right.
5 of them. That's it.
And those are the only ones that should be put back in their position. Every other Republican should be voted out. Did you get that? Because that's true.
Thank you so much, Sally. Appreciate your taking the time to share those things with us. I might say it's really important, I believe, to vote in person. Please, if at all possible, vote in person. Should you go to vote in person and you find that somebody sent in a mail-in ballot, one thing I understand is, as far as a signature, an X is a legal signature. So that's probably got something to do with why they're not really checking, because it doesn't really mean anything.
No, but they can tell if it's your signature.
Only if they have something to compare it with.
Well, you sign your application when you, not if you do it by, online.
That's right.
Yeah.
My baby.
I signed mine now.
Okay.
Not my signature.
I believe it's a good idea to vote in person. But if you find that you go there and they say you've already sent in a mail-in ballot, you're guilty of a felony. And this is a case where you are guilty until proven innocent. You have to prove that you're going in and voting in person is really you. Otherwise, they are going to count the mail-in ballot. They will not count your provisional ballot. So.
Right. They can't, there's no accountability. They
And
can't do it.
and I was told that they took 2 people in the primary and sent them over to the state's attorney's office for that very thing.
You have a comment,
They
Mike?
give it to us just to put us in jail.
Mike Barnes.
Yes, Mike.
I did, at our last, I guess it was 2 Republican Club meetings ago, Barry Jackson, who's in charge of our election board. and
Would you speak in the mic just to make sure?
Yeah. Barry Jackson.
Barry.
No. Barry Jackson from our election board came, the Washington County Election Board, came and spoke at our meeting 2 meetings ago. And he said if they come in and they try to vote and they've already sent in their vote, both ballots are going to be knocked out.
They can't. See, and I have to tell you that you were just told something that is not true. Because they can't. Because when they open the ballots, October 1st, at that point, there is no way to knock that ballot out, because that ballot is already counted. They are not just opening and separating, which is bad enough.
Right.
They're opening and they're scanning them. So those ballots are counted already. There is no possible way, and I'll tell you what, if he doesn't know that, he ought to know that. And shame on him for not knowing that, and I would go back to him and ask him about that, because that is what is happening. It happened in the primary, and it is happening again. The State Board of Elections put that out already in an announcement. We will begin counting those ballots October 1st. Now, not everybody, like Carroll County, I think is starting, they said the 5th, the 3rd? I haven't got mine yet. Well, only if you ask for it will you get it.
I did.
But if you, and they'll be
coming,
getting it
yeah.
soon. But so there's no way for that to happen, and that's the problem. Also, the law says, which is strange, the law says if you decide to vote absentee and you send it in, and then you decide, gosh, I didn't want to vote that, I've changed my mind, and you send another one in, then the one that they get the last is the one that is the valid one. So why are they sending people to the state's attorney's office? Because if you voted in person, that's your last vote. That's what, and if somebody tells you you can't vote because you already voted, here's a provisional ballot, that's still your last vote. And the law makes it very clear that that's allowed. It's on the Board of Elections to make sure that both of those are not counted. You can vote, but they can't count. But see, they are negligent
I guess
in
I
their
will be making a
duty.
phone call tomorrow morning.
Yes, I would.
Yeah, because that situation doesn't exist if
That's
you
right.
Don't count the ballot until after
Until
the
after the
election,
election,
because
because
then you've already
that's right.
voted, and you throw out the
And
absentee
you throw
ballot.
out the absentee ballot, and that's the difference, and there is the problem. And it's a problem that we can't allow to continue to happen. And if that happens to anybody, people should, if anybody tells you it happened, get their name. Where do you live? Because we need to know who those people are. Because at some point, this has to go to the court.
Right.
Because if we don't have a legitimate election, we don't have a legitimate government.
Well, and that's right. And we have an extra burden here in Maryland.
Right.
Because the RMC attorneys and all of these folks, they really might have us already written off. And they are looking at the border states. So the monkey's on our back to get it straightened out. And we have to have people accountable. And we've got to get these things out in the public so people know. Letters to the editor. I will send you better information than I articulated tonight. I'm sorry, I was a little.
But these are important things because we are losing our government. If we cannot hold these people accountable in how we conduct our elections, we no longer have a legitimate government in this state.
And I think the whole election should be thrown
It
out.
should be.
We do have a challenge before us. These people are more than willing to commit fraud. They have shown their resolve, not only in this election, but they've shown their resolve in how they want to run the government. They're willing to loot. They're willing to destroy. They're willing to murder people in order to get what they want. That is their resolve in this election. Any length.
Can I just also say that there is a remedy here? Governor Hogan. Governor Hogan actually has the authority. He appoints the majority number on the State Board of Elections. He also appoints the majority in every county board of elections. That means if he doesn't like what's going on, it could stop right now because he could stop it. It is happening with Governor Hogan's approval, because those are his people that are on those boards. He can remove them for cause and replace them with somebody who's not going to do that. It is not Linda Limon who is doing that while she is as, you know, problematic as anything. It's the State Board of Elections that votes to do this. And it is his majority people that he put on there that are doing this. Why do we have a Republican governor in this state if we have this behavior under this Republican governor? Where's the Maryland GOP on this?
Right.
Silent. Why? As Republicans, we should be burning down the Maryland GOP. What a feckless group. This is not how the Republicans are supposed to operate. Because if it is, what makes us any different than the Democrats?
You're right.
So that question needs to be asked of Governor Hogan. Where are you and why are you not stopping this?
Old business.
Okay,
Okay.
let's go to old business. Don, if you have something you want to bring up?
This past summer, we had a subcommittee meet and look at a few changes in the bylaws. Some technical things are in error, and I think President Ron, I would make a motion that we adopt the changes that you have listed there on the platform. Things like the name of the club is not consistent, and there's a prohibition for officers not being from the 3 districts, Tawnytown, Myers, and Manchester, but our president is from Westminster and our corresponding secretary is from Eldersburg. So do you have those written out? Can you read the things we suggested be changed in the bylaws? And then next meeting, my motion is that we draft a new set of bylaws with the changes we vote on tonight, and then ratify it at the next meeting after everybody gets a copy of it. So I make that in the form of a motion and tell everybody what you're about to say.
Okay, let me clarify a few of those things, and then we'll get a second, and then we can have a discussion if you like. But as Don was saying, we need to make sure that everything that we do has the same name on it, whether it's checks that are written, business cards that we have, flyers that are going out. They should always have the same name, which should be the Tri-District Republican Club of North Carroll. That's one of the items. Another one, we need to make sure that certain officers are actually legal to be in their positions by stating that officers, if they live in Carroll County, they can serve as an officer in the club. And then let's see. Section 3. Pardon my trying to read this. Okay, I'm sorry. What we need to be able to do is to make sure that if there's a vacancy in an office, that we're able to make a provision to have someone elected. Also, so that's section 3, but also section 4. If there's a vacancy, that we can nominate somebody from the floor. And if that's not clear enough, then we can have another discussion next week, but if we want to get a second on that motion from Don.
I'll second.
Okay. Are there any questions that anybody has about that?
And the proposal
All
is
right.
that we're gonna write it out
We're going to
and adopt it.
write out the next meeting.
Send it to the members
We're going to write out a new copy of the bylaws,
with these three
okay,
changes.
with the changes. And then what we're going to do is vote on that, accepting the bylaws
As amended.
as an amendment for next meeting. So if there aren't any other questions, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and all those opposed, no? Okay, the ayes have it, and the motion is adopted, and we'll get that taken care of, and we'll send that information to all the members so that you can have an opportunity to read the updated bylaws and come with any questions that you might have. Okay. Any other unfinished business that you might have? Unfinished? No, okay. All right, any new business? Go ahead, Kathy. Yeah.
There is a commissioners meeting on Thursday where they're going to be discussing opening Carol. Commissioner Boucher apparently has asked for it to go on the agenda. And so I would recommend contacting the commissioner's office, either email or phone call, if you support reopening Carol and lifting some of these restrictions, at least as much as they're willing to do.
Can the club do that right now? Send a letter?
Yeah, that's a good idea, yeah.
So make that informal motion that the club do that. We get a letter to them by Thursday.
Make sure we get, all right, make sure we get it on, because that's good information for anyone who's watching. Sure. Okay, I make a motion to write a letter to the commissioners to support reopening Carroll County for their meeting on Thursday. Thursday, 9 a.m. I'm not
No,
sure.
October
It would be October 1st, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Thursday, October 1st. They're meeting at 9 a.m. And I would strongly encourage everybody to not just rely on this if we pass this, but to also reach out to the commissioners and tell them how important it is.
I'll second that.
Okay, Don, thank you.
I've already sent one.
All right, so is there any other discussion on that? Okay, go ahead, let's go ahead and vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed, no. Okay, the ayes have it, and we will be sending that letter to the commissioners. Okay, and Don, you have a
Yeah, I
some
wanted to
business?
say as an adjunct to the treasurer's report that I was going to speak again about an invoice we have for signs for Mr. Cole, that we told him at the last meeting that we would back him up on buying more yard signs, and that my goal in discussions with the officers has been to spend about $1,000 of the $1,700 tonight. And I would suggest the first check you allow me to write is to our speaker tonight, and then we should discuss Gregory Cole and some of the other congressional candidates that we've talked about over the summer. So if you want to just frame that. And remember, we don't want to spend our treasury down to zero because that needs some other flexibility, but we just need amounts on that and need to work that out with motions and seconds, Mr. President.
Okay, so are you going to make a motion on that?
Well, I'd say our
Or-
goal of this portion of the discussion is to spend about $1,000 at this meeting. And I think we should give Mr. Barnes $250 for coming tonight. And so,
Can you kind of make a list of who it is you're thinking?
well,
to give
where's
so
the
we know how
invoice
much-
for the
how many
signs?
people?
Do you know where that is? Well, it doesn't matter.
Don,
We told
there are some papers that were put up here. That might be one.
Well, I think that time is of the essence. Your election is on November 3rd, right? So we have to get this money to him now. And I would move that the first expenditure be $250 for the mayor of Hagerstown endorsed by Newt Gingrich.
Can you just, tell me how many, who it is that you want to, so we know how many, so we know
Well,
how
I
much?
didn't want to do it all at once. I
Well,
just wanted to
yeah,
work
but
down from the top.
But if we don't know how many people we're looking at, then we don't know how much to give each one out of
We,
that
as a
1,000.
club, we made a commitment to Gregory Cole, the Cash Bash, to help to
Okay.
support.
And also
So Mr.
Neil
Barnes,
Parrott
Gregory?
And to Neil
Neil
Parrott
Parrott.
also.
at the Cash Bash.
Okay.
We mentioned Trump, however, we think through Pennsylvania somehow, maybe we even want to pick an event or something instead of just sending, I'm not even sure who to send money to.
Maybe the best thing would be to go, right, to go and help, do door knocking, I think would be probably is more helpful than, $100.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, we don't know.
I think we should support the opponent of David Trone, who's fighting to take over the municipalities in Western Maryland. It's appalling that he would use his congressional seat to do that.
But how many, how are we dividing the 1,000
We've
is
got
what I'm
Mr.
saying.
Barnes, we've got Mr. Cole, we've got Mr. Parrott, and I would like to add to that Delegate Cox, because Delegate Cox is a one-man fighting machine, and he's, while he might not be, up for re-election right now, I think we have some money now, and I think that we need to show our support to him, so I would like to add him to the list.
Okay. Delegate Cox was added as a thought. Did you have an amount of money you were thinking for the signs for Gregory?
Yeah, I was gonna suggest we donate $400 to that.
Okay, so that's $650. And
And it was how much did you said for Mr. Barnes? 200 and?
I think we ought to give him he came down and did a great job tonight, and he needs to win. He needs to beat this.
250.
I know what it's like in Tawnytown to
said.
have an old guard that won't listen to anything that people say, and it's time to overturn this guard, and he needs to overcome.
so if we give 250 to Neil Parrott, that's 850. That's 9, isn't it?
Yeah, that's $900.
So maybe, so that would, and you're looking at
There's
spending
$100 to
1,000?
Kim Klacik.
No.
Nah,
no.
we don't want to go down there.
yeah.
She'll have plenty of money.
got a
She's
lot of-
nationally known.
She
And
she
Palumbi
spoke-
is also good, but,
Yeah.
Beating
she spoke
Stenchy
at that.
Hoyer.
so that leaves 100 for Cox.
So we're looking at $1,000
Mhm.
altogether?
That's a suggestion for me.
I mean, they're,
You
So
go
that leaves
over,
that-
a little over that, we just have to sell memberships. I forgot to say that in my treasury report.
Right. Sell memberships.
The best way to raise money, $15 a person.
so that was 250 for Mr. Barnes, 400 for Greg Cole, 250 for Neil Parrott, and that's 100 for Dan Cox. Did anybody want to give money to anyone else? Do we want to support, try to, whoever can support the door-to-door for Trump and Perry in Pennsylvania?
That's the best,
But we're not
that's
gonna
where
give
he
money.
needs.
No.
But we throw in breakfast and lunch and I'm happy to fry up.
You need to give that to our corresponding secretary so she can shoot that out.
Yeah,
for
we'll get that
October
out.
3rd to our membership.
Okay,
because
well
I
then I'll
wasn't
make a
happy.
motion. I'll make a motion that we spend $1,000 from our fundraising for the election and for Dan Cox, who's not running, but who is working hard for the party. So that would be in the amounts of $250 for Mike Barnes, running for mayor in Hagerstown, $400 for Gregory Cole, Congress, $250 for Neil Parrott, also running for Congress in District 6. And that leaves $100 for Dan Cox to be an encouragement.
To
support his fight, because he's up front.
Okay, thank you. And can I get a second on that? Okay, Kathy. All right, is there any discussion? No. All right, so all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed, no. Okay, the ayes have it, and we will have the treasurer start sending those checks out so that these people can defeat their opponents, because you got to follow the cash, and it means a lot to these people.
And I also, supporting these congressional candidates is supporting Trump, so it all fits together.
Definitely. Okay, is there any other new business that anybody would like to bring up?
Can we have a repeat of the October 10th information for the video? That was given a long time ago in the video.
Oh,
Can you tell us about
October.
red, white, and blue,
Okay, yeah.
and back to blue?
You want me?
Yeah, can you do that again?
Okay, yes. So we're having a MAGA red, white, and back the blue motorcade on October 10th at 10 a.m. So that's 10/10 at 10. We're meeting at the Sykesville Middle School on Springfield Avenue, and decorate your cars. Bring your, back the blue paraphernalia, and if you don't have it, that's okay, because Wayne and I are making stuff, so we're going to be sharing. So if you don't have something to decorate your car, we'll help you decorate. And we're going to go through Carroll County, and we're going to end up back in Tommytown with the Frasers. And it is, we're hoping to raise a little bit of money for some of the families who have lost their loved ones, their police officer, to some of this violence that's been going on. So anyway, so I hope you'll come out and give anybody that you see that has a flag for Trump or a Gadsden flag in their yard, take these flyers. I'm going to send them out in the email. Take these flyers and take them to the house and tell them, come on out. We're going to have a good time, get to know you, and maybe we'll get some members. Right. And our club is, the Tri-District Republican Club is helping to sponsor this, and so is the Carroll County Republican Women's Club. And if the Countytown Republican Women's would like to, I will put you on the next set of flyers too. So anyway, so we'll just have a nice day.
Looking forward to it. We have in our yard a sign that says honk, defend, not defund the police. And I believe our neighbors are getting tired of people honking at all hours of the day and night. I love it. Every time I'm in the house and I hear honking, I say it just makes my little heart beat a little faster. So happy to hear that.
I found that invoice that I have for today. At the last time we had Gregory Cole here, we promised to support him at the fall meeting, but also he attended the Church of the Open Door last Sunday, and then he came here and spoke with Pastor Robinson, and we both prayed for him, and we told him to go ahead and order the signs, even though he didn't have any money in the campaign account for it. So he sent me the invoice for this meeting. The 1,000 signs is $2,335. And I want to encourage people listening to send a check to Greg Cole for Congress. And the Frasers are going to give an extra $200 to send along with the check the club has just passed. And I want individually people listening to me to make a check payable to help defray the cost of these, because this is the #1 need of the campaign right now, to get those yard signs out. So thank you.
Adele, thank you, Don. Okay. Yes, Sam, you have.
Yeah, just one thing I wanted to mention. We wrote a letter to Walmart. I was on Fox one night and I heard that Walmart contributed $100 million to Black Lives Matters. And there's a lot of legitimate businesses doing this. Why, I don't know, but I thought I would inform them that we're no longer going to shop there. I don't want to put them in bankruptcy, and I don't think I will, but if we get enough people to hurt them to $1 billion, or, you know, like they did with the NFL, we can make a difference, a real difference. This madness is not going to stop anytime soon. Trump's going to win in a landslide, but let's just say for the place argument, even if crazy Biden wins, and that's not going to happen, if he does, there's no way in this world this stuff is going to stop. These people have got a real war chest, and they don't care who wins or who doesn't win. It's that simple. So we've got to take this on our own. I blew my hearing out at a gun range not long ago, so I tried to talk radio. If anybody else can do that, please do it for me because I can't hear anymore, you know. Anyway, we need to spread this word around. I wish people who had the contacts or whatever to do this, to let the American public know, just like they're going to let the NFL and the NBA, they are getting a huge wake-up call right now. These other companies need to get the same wake-up call. We can do a lot to stop this, but we've got to be proactive. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you very much. Yes, Mike.
Let me add something. You guys are always welcome at Washington County Republican Club meeting. I believe it's the third Wednesday. I will get that to you, Robin, so you can put that out there. And also tomorrow night, the Washington County Republican Club is having a debate watch party at the Colonial Motel and Restaurant in Hagerstown. It's on Pennsylvania Avenue, close to the airport. Once again, I can get you the address and email it to you. Okay. And thank you guys very, very much for the opportunity to speak and also for the very kind donation to my campaign.
Thank you, Mike. I'm looking forward to this. Is it fair to call it a debate when one person has a great deal of intelligence and the other person?
He's got 22 hours to get COVID.
He's not showing.
I don't know.
I'm with you. He's not showing.
President's been practicing. He got some of his people helping him practice for this.
Sure.
This. He wasn't sure how the other guy was practicing. He was at home practicing with his boy.
Well, it's one debate I'm not going to miss. So, anything else that somebody would like to bring up? Okay, in that case, yes.
A letter of endorsement that
Okay.
that I was going to send in, but maybe I forgot to put somebody on there. Oh, we had. I was going to send to the Carroll County Times and the Northern News a letter that we are endorsing Gregory Cole, Delegate Harrod, Andy Harris, and of course our president. Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Do we want to put Mr. Titus on there also? I hadn't included him, but yeah.
So the question is, all right, so there's a letter of endorsement going out to the letter to the editor endorsing Gregory Cole, Republican Andy Harris, Neil Parrott, Donald Trump, and the question is, do we want to rewrite that to include Judge Titus? Might as well. All right. Do we need a friendly amendment to that, or do you want to just make that addition?
Yeah, I'll just make that addition.
Okay. This is a friendly group, and so we're making a friendly amendment. Okay. Anything else?
Oh my gosh. How about the school board? Yeah. Savigny and maybe.
From the school board?
Savigny and Herbert. Yes, Marcia Herbert, yes. Because they actually, the school personnel tried to sneak through in this COVID business, family life curricula, so that's where all the sex ed goes. And Carroll County has always been, abstain has been the thing, not contraceptives or whatever, they've been teaching abstinence. And so coming down from the state is a very different curricula. And in this county, the people who are in charge of that curricula tried to push it through without any parents knowing about it. And Donna Savigny and Marcia Herbert and Tara Battaglia all were very strong in pushing back on that, and have made it so they made a decision that every parent has to either opt in or opt out of it. So they were going to just do it an opt out, which means most parents won't even know.
Right.
And you're just automatically in it.
Right.
But they changed how it's going to be done because of the pushback from the Board of Education, and they are now going to have from every single parent a choice. Your child is either in or they're out. And so at least the parents will know what the sex ed that their kids are getting. And that's about as good as we can get.
Shouldn't parents go to a meeting and learn of what it's gonna be about?
Yes, the parents can look into it and ask before just their kids just getting it without their knowledge. So. Yes, right. It's a lot of the leftists. Yeah, kindergarten through 12th grade.
I heard something really good the other day. The Trump administration has gone through and written a whole new curriculum for all of the public schools. So that when he gets elected, they're gonna push to get this in and get rid of all this garbage that's in there now.
Pro-American stuff.
I knew he's talked about the history stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
right.
This is called 1778
I heard,
or
yes,
something like that.
1776,
Yeah, 1778.
yes, right. I
Give
heard
the
that.
teachers those, history books, like we got.
Yeah. So should we add the Board of Education members also?
Sounds good. Just get that little
Yeah, I'm
typewriter
glad I
going.
didn't even think about.
And for all you guys out there in Never Never Land, we are adding names to our
Well, that was to narrow it
list
down
of endorsements.
from the broad to the, and there's three positions this time, I think, that are being elected. School board, three. Oh, it's just two. So it's Zavigny and Herbert. Battaglia is not up this time.
It's nonpartisan, they're also Democrat in the state.
Yeah.
And there's two openings, and I think there are 4 names. So you want to elect 2 Democrats, don't vote for the Republicans, okay?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Kathy. I forgot what you did. Good.
Anything else? Okay. In that case, I just want to let people know that, again, I'm really glad that the people here are letting us use their facilities. I hope we get a nice turnout if we're back here again next month. For all you guys that are not here, we have all-you-can-eat shrimp and lobster. And you're missing out on a wonderful feast. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next month. And
Do you care about black?
He's trying
to play the Kim Klacik.
I was asking if we could
Oh.
show the Kim Klacik new video, because it really is quite good.
Okay. Can
So
we do
he's
that?
trying. He said they just got a new soundboard, and he wasn't sure if he could get the sound, but that's why the sound sounds a little funny right now, is he's trying to get it on this ad that we can watch on the big screen.
Okay, good.
Oh, there it is.
Here we go.
I do. And unlike the people that currently run Baltimore, I actually have a plan to make life better for Black people here. Walk with me. I want you to see this. I'm Kim Klacik. This is Baltimore, the real Baltimore. This city was once among the most prosperous, populated, and powerful cities in America. So what happened? Our leaders abandoned us and Baltimore fell into ruin. But it doesn't have to be this way. None of this has to be this way. A broken Baltimore does not have to be our future. Do you care about Black lives? I do. And unlike the people that currently run Baltimore, I actually have a plan to make life better for Black people here. Walk with me. Baltimore that picks up trash. There are piles of garbage all around Baltimore. It makes life unsafe for our families. I'll work with city leaders to get Baltimore's Solid Waste Bureau the resources it needs to take out the trash. Our streets should be a reflection of our leaders. Clean, not dirty. Much of our trash gathers in abandoned homes. There are over 17,000 abandoned buildings in Baltimore. They are a scar on the face of our city. I will support tax credits and incentive programs to give residents a chance to buy and rehabilitate these homes. Everyone deserves a safe community and a chance at home ownership. Let's put the charm back in Charm City. Who will live in these homes? The newly employed constituents of Baltimore City. This district needs more jobs. The best way to get them is by having businesses invest in our community. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act gives federal tax incentive to drive private investment into opportunity zones just like Baltimore. Who will work in all of these new jobs if we don't have an educated workforce? 9 out of 10 Black boys in Baltimore are not reading at grade level. Over a dozen high schools in Baltimore have zero students proficient in math. This is a tragedy. We can end the school to prison pipeline with school choice, providing parents with options to escape schools that do not serve our children. Let's make Baltimore better for our kids. Isn't that the point? That's my vision for Baltimore. The corrupt leaders hate it. They attack me for taking a stand, for wanting better for our people, our children, our communities. But I'm not the only one who wants better. Tens of millions of you have shared the struggle of Black people in Baltimore. You lifted our voices. You cared about our Black lives more than our own Democrat leaders. They have done nothing for us. Now they can't hide. It's time for change. We are that change. I'm Kim Klacik, and I'm running for Congress because I actually care about Black lives. All Black lives matter. Our communities matter. We matter. And Baltimore doesn't have to vote Democrat.
That is exactly right. Baltimore does not have to vote Democrat. We can do it. We can talk to people, and we can get them to understand just how terrible socialism is and what Republic can do for them.
I'm Newt Gingrich, and I would.
Now, are we trying to get Newt online?
Show this video to the people as part of this video.
Okay.
But we have to get the video and the sound together.
Okay.
Take a second. So keep going.
Right. Keep going. One of the things that Sally was talking about, and I mentioned earlier, there are 4,239,987 people of voting age in Maryland. Yet you said there were 20 million ballots being submitted. Well, the question came, what is that all about? Well, it's all about lining somebody's pocket with money, not lint. Somebody's pocket, I'm sure, is getting really filled with that. And here we have our friend Newt.
I'm Newt Gingrich, and I want to congratulate President Matt Breeding, the officers, and all the members of the Washington County Republican Club for their many successes in a very difficult time. While I wish you were able to hold your second annual Eisenhower Day dinner, and my staff was working with your leadership team for me to attend in person, I regret that I cannot. Everyone knows travel, especially international travel, is difficult right now, if not nearly impossible. Your leadership team made a wise decision to suspend plans for your dinner until next year, when we all can celebrate the re-election of President Trump, keeping the Senate, and winning back the House of Representatives. Because of each and every member of your club, you have experienced tremendous growth in 2020. And if my sources are correct, you now have over 150 members in good standing and plan on 200 by the end of the year. Whatever you are doing, you're doing right. I'm told your club has become a model for other clubs, and you have begun to partner with neighboring Republican organizations to help them become as successful. Creating the Western Maryland Conservative Coalition is a great endeavor, and teamwork will help solidify the conservative movement. With your energy, focus, and outreach, you can do what many think is impossible. You can take back Maryland's 6th congressional seat that was gerrymandered away from you. I personally challenge everyone to bring at least one other person to work to make Delegate Neil Parrott, Congressman Neil Parrott. President Trump needs help. It's up to you to make it happen. Speaking of making it happen, the city of Hagerstown is a Democrat stronghold. However, you have a Republican mayor. Let's keep it that way. Let's work to elect Mike Barnes as your next mayor. Get out and support your 4 Republican city council candidates. The Montgomery County Democrats are moving to Frederick County. Do your part. Stop them there. Keep Washington County red. My staff and your leadership team will continue to work together, and I hope to see everyone in person next year.
All right, that's great. It's a good endorsement. Good man. Anything else anybody wants to bring up then? If not, I will entertain a motion for the meeting to come to an end.
A motion to adjourn.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay. Leslie has a second. And let's go ahead and vote. All those in favor say aye. And those opposed, no. Okay, the ayes have it, and meeting is adjourned. God bless.
I want you to see this. I'm Kim Klacik. This is Baltimore, the real Baltimore. This city was once among the most prosperous, populated, and powerful cities in America. So what happened? Our leaders abandoned us and Baltimore fell into ruin. But it doesn't have to be this way. None of this has to be this way. A broken Baltimore does not have to be our future. And that's why I'm running for Congress, because I see this city differently. I walk the streets of Baltimore and see what could be. I want you to see what I see. I see Baltimore that picks up trash. There are piles of garbage all around Baltimore. It makes life unsafe for our families. I'll work with city leaders to get Baltimore's Solid Waste Bureau the resources it needs to take out the trash. Our streets should be a reflection of our leaders. Clean, not dirty. Much of our trash gathers in abandoned homes. There are over 17,000 abandoned buildings in Baltimore. They are a scar on the face of our city. I will support tax credits and incentive programs to give residents a chance to buy and rehabilitate these homes. Everyone deserves a safe community and a chance at home ownership. Let's put the charm back in Charm City. Who will live in these homes? The newly employed constituents of Baltimore City. This district needs more jobs. The best way to get them is by having businesses invest in our community. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act gives federal tax incentive to drive private investment into opportunity zones just like Baltimore. Who will work in all of these new jobs if we don't have an educated workforce? 9 out of 10 black boys in Baltimore are not reading at grade level. Over a dozen high schools in Baltimore have 0, yes, 0, students proficient in math. This is a tragedy. We can end the school to prison pipeline with school choice, providing parents with options to escape schools that do not serve our children.
Let's make Baltimore better for our kids. Isn't that the point? That's my vision for Baltimore. The corrupt leaders hate it. They attack me for taking a stand, for wanting better for our people, our children, our communities. But I'm not the only one who wants better.
Tens of millions of you have shared the struggle of black people in Baltimore. You lifted our voices. You cared about our black lives more than our own Democrat leaders. They have done nothing for us. Now they can't hide. It's time for change. We are that change.
I'm Kim Klacik, and I'm running for Congress because I actually care about black lives. All black lives matter. Our communities matter. We matter. And Baltimore doesn't have to vote Democrat.